We're on YouTube now. Totally unprepared. That's a yes. That's how the case is most of the time. We come on here totally unprepared. You don't think it? Yeah, I mean, you can't prepare to be crazy like I am. It's just to do what you do. No, you couldn't. And really, serious. All seriousness aside, you couldn't prepare to do this. It just comes. You just have to roll with whatever nuttiness you come up with on the line. But that's what makes it fun. I always said that's why over preparing in this stuff is not good. At least I can't. I mean, some people probably can read from a script of all that. I mean, I think Jesse had one guy. I don't know if he's still on. Vince Daniels. He's the one that scripts out everything to a T. I'm the antithesis of that. As I script out hardly anything. I just wing it. Of that. Got too many coffee cups up here. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There's that funky slide guitar music that comes on every day, 5 and 5:30, as we do on Newswire Daily on YouTube and Facebook, and then we roll into 1490 AM, the Mighty Met, broadcasting its fast signal out of Banning, California, where we roll across the old airways when we join, when Sean joins us, who puts us out over the airways there, producer extraordinaire Jesse, in the Toyota San Bernardino recording studios, for those of you watching on the video, as you can see behind me, with the checkered flags, which are not waving at any speedway across America, which they should be. America's huge. I don't know if it still is, but yeah, and I don't know if you know this factoid. America auto racing was the number one spectator sport in the United States for many, many, many years. I don't know if it still is, but it was for a long, long time. And most people didn't know that. That actually more live spectators attended auto racing than any other sport in the United States. I said racing something. You got racing, hockey, things are things you got to see. Totally different experiences. You see them live. Boxing match. If you watch a live boxing match versus it on the TV, is totally different experience. Now football, basketball, baseball, things like that, I think probably do lend themselves. You probably see more what's going on in that, but I mean, you don't get the flavor, the action, or the speed, or the noise, or anything like that, or just the overall camaraderie of what's going on, unless you actually attend an automobile race. And I've said that many times. Most people that don't attend them or think they don't like it, most people wind up loving the experience. So we'll talk about that. We're going to talk about another, obviously the topic which seems to be dominating every day, which is coronavirus. In my view, all the nuttiness that's going on. We had Dr. Kelly Victory on last night, shedding some facts, not fear, on this whole thing. And that's what we're going to be doing on this show. This show, we are not succumbing to the pressures of all this stuff. Update, it looks like coming up at 5:30, Los Angeles City, County, and surrounding areas are going to go on this social in shelter or whatever place, or what's coming on like they are in San Francisco. Are you people going to just keep taking this? I mean, like Dr. Kelly Victory said, the actions they're taking now are going to prolong this whole coronavirus thing. we're going to be bringing out, maybe we're going to start tomorrow. We're going to be bringing out some of the things that you got in store for you, Mr. and Mrs. American citizen, if you keep letting this stuff go. I mean, like I said, I tried to stay off the conspiracy stuff a lot because it gets you know, who knows? A lot of the conspiracy stuff never seems to pan out. Some of it kind of bits and pieces of it. So, you don't know which part of it to believe, not believe, New World Order, three people are going to rule the whole world, blah, 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 blah. What is it? The Council on Foreign Relations, and I can't remember, the Bohemian Society. There's all sorts of different trips and triggers that go across the board on all that stuff. But, be it whatever. The United States of America, as established in 1776, was built on individual liberty, private property rights, and overall your right to be your God-given natural right, or however you want to say it, to be a free person. To live life as you see fit as long as you're not bothering anybody else. I.e., you're clubbing somebody else over the head and taking their stuff. It's going to be very difficult, or maybe it's not. I won't be. I mean, find out the one. See if you can find the video. I don't know if it was in California and I think it was in California, up in the San Francisco area where they have this supposed whatever, social lockdown, whatever, shelter in place. Apparently, many citizens up there, because they said, well, you can only go out to get essential services or goods. So a bunch of them, I think it was in the San Francisco area, but somewhere up there, decided it was essential for them to own a gun or buy a gun and get some ammunition. Well, apparently the police took a dim view of that and didn't decide that was not a essential use or service, and there was some sort of confrontation or what, not confrontation, but I don't know if they asked them to leave or ticketing them, or I don't know exactly, but I just heard bits and pieces of it as I was doing my travels today, not locked in my room, curled up in the fetal position, thinking I'm going to die from coronavirus or something. As Dr. Kelly Victory said, it's a very mild, a mild virus will spread widely, but it will kill or do vast damage to very few. Something like Ebola, which is a virus that is very deadly, only affects a very few. So the widespreadness of coronavirus, like you said, all the cases that there are versus the very few, and the very few that do have to pay attention to that, 13% of our population is over 65. Only 2% of them work. And then you take people with lung disease, or if you have asthma, or recently been through chemotherapy and your immune system's down, you should probably not be out or going to work or something, and we can make accommodations for that. I mean, the infinitesimal amount of percentage of the population that probably should shelter in place and would be common sense to do, we could function. We would not be 13 malls all across Southern California are shut down right now. 13, including Ontario Mills, the big one in the Inland Empire, and the big outlet center out there in Cabazon. They're going to shut down, basically do this shelter-in-place thing in that. Gavin Newsom said, well, we might bring out, today again, they asked him, we might bring out this martial law, but it's only a blah, 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 blah. Well, no, when you're bringing out martial law, you are suspending the Constitution, which means your right to be a free person, First, Second Amendment, 10th, 14th, Article 4, 5, 10, and every other one in there are out the window. That's what martial law means. They are suspending the Constitution for some sort of, and that is only supposed to be sprung into some sort of national threat or emergency. If we are going to let them define this as a natural threat or emergency, then we're done. We're done as a free people, I can tell you that. You'll be thinking Mexico is a free society the way they run it down there if they're able to pull this stuff off. It's the way it's going. Watch it. I mean, when they keep saying, well, yeah, we're homeschooling. Well, it's only schools are already shut down to April 3rd. Then the 30th. Then, well, looks like we're not coming back any at all this school year. Better start thinking about that homeschooling thing. And when you're hearing this from the likes of Donald Trump and Gavin Newsom, governor of California, which not only a week ago one was calling one the biggest dumb blank in the world, and the other one saying, yeah, well, you're Satan, the devil himself, reincarnated or whatever. I mean, they were getting it wrong. They got along, or politically, or on the face of it, like a junkyard dog and an alley cat. Now they're all singing from the same tune. Over a common virus that spread a lot, as it has been proven, is not very dangerous to the mass population of whatever your city, county, home, country, world is. To a very, 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 very infinitesimal few, yes. For this, we're shutting down practically everything. Car sales were projected to be 17 million. The projection now is 14. That's 3 million car sales in 2020 that were projected to go or not. You don't think that's going to have a profound effect across the economy? All these malls and stores and everything shutting down. $23 million a day is the economic impact estimated in the Orange County Register of just Disneyland in Anaheim, California closing down. $23 million a day. Again, you don't think that has a profound effect on your economy, your quality of life, your job? When that ripple effect starts going through of all the people that are not out working or being laid off or won't get their job back when they come, think long and hard. If you're going to buy this BS that the United States government's rolling out across this whole thing. You can believe the little sawed-off guy or whatever that's supposed to be some sort of expert that Trump's got up there of that. Or you can believe people like Dr. Kelly Victory, who's actually standing up for your freedom and giving you facts, not fear, on coronavirus. How about the post that we have on the new program we've got for small business that we got coming up? It's on IEN Newswire. And we're going to blast it off on the show today because we do have, as we usually do on Thursday, we got that crazy guy with a lazy eye, Eddie George from HEMET News. Welcome back to the show.
What's up, Roy? How you doing, buddy?
The sky's still up, but I don't know for how long because I think the coronavirus is going to have the sky falling in on us all across the board.
The way the people are panicking out here, I swear they are. I always shout out to Cat Squires. I see you watching the show. Cat can tell you in the comments how crazy it is out here in Hemet, but I do want to let everybody know I did have a meeting today with Chief Brown with the HEMET Fire Department. And they're going to be sending us, they're working up some special information for us to be releasing out to the public. But the main thing that we are needing to be put out to the public is, stop panicking. This is not as bad as everybody seems that it's bad. It's just everybody stopped using common sense as soon as the word coronavirus went out. So, we're just trying to calm people down, and our group's trying to actually put out the positive things and the actual factual of everything. So it's crazy out here, Roy. I tell you, but it's like I say, it's not as bad as everybody thinks it is. Everybody going to these stores and buying up everything. That's what's putting everybody in panic.
Yes, it is, and it's supposedly at 5:30 they're going to go to this shelter-in-place thing in L.A. County, which is going to be that. But I just posted it on your site, I posted it on mine, I put it up, me and Stephanie did. We got a new program here on Newswire Daily that we're going to do to help small business owners, especially, and we're going to concentrate on those who are especially hit hard, restaurant owners and that. We are going to offer till April 30th, we are going to offer, roll it up on the deal. We are going to offer free, no cost to you, 20-second ads for businesses that are affected by this all across the board to run at the bottom and the top of each hour on our show. Because
that's awesome.
I am thinking, I kind of got the idea from you when you put up the deal to help us seniors, but I'm thinking, well, what can we do to help small businesses out there that are getting crushed by this thing? I mean, that's what's bothering me about this whole thing. So my phone number's on there. You can contact me on Facebook, call me, whatever. If you got a business out there, especially restaurant business, service business, or whatever that's been basically shut down or very curtailed in this time, we will give you a free 20-second ad to run on IE Business Wire Daily on KMET 1490 on our show to try and help you guys out, because you guys are really getting hammered. And if you guys get hammered, what I'm afraid of is all the people that are losing or going to lose their jobs on that. They might not be coming back for a while, if ever.
That's right. And I'm glad you brought that up. I'm actually working with the local restaurants, the mom and pop restaurants out here. Just talked with El Zarapi. I was over there. I talked to the owner of them, and they're actually allowing lobby visits right now. They are maximizing everything to only 10 people in the lobby. I will be making a post on HEMET, EYE, news.com, HEMET News official page on Facebook, and I'll also share it to your page as well. The phone numbers and everything that you can call in. What they're doing right now, they do have all the tables basically set to where they are 6 feet away. They still have the minimum or the maximum of 6 or 10 people. 10 people that can only come in the restaurant. So what we're encouraging everybody is, if you will, if you want to go to, the restaurants, make sure you do call ahead and ask them, how many people are in the restaurant. That way, they can accommodate you to how many people they have in there versus how many people you're bringing, so they can stay underneath, the max limit. I was in there just a while ago, and they had like 7 people in there, so 2 people came in. That would have been over their limit, so we hurried up and bounced out. So that way they can still be under their limit. And I want to encourage people, the public, when you are in restaurants that have that 10 max capability of people in their restaurants, please eat your food. Don't sit there and just talk and conversate. Eat your food and bounce so other people can come in and eat. Because while you're still sitting there, just chit-chatting and your food's all done, people have to wait outside, to come in. So we're trying to encourage that to the public as well. Also, Boyd's Burgers, for those out here in Hemet, I spoke with Boyd's Burgers a while ago. Their dining rooms are closed. Their eat-in dining area is closed, but they are doing deliveries. up to 5 miles. El Zarapi is also doing deliveries up to 5 miles. And they're Boyd's Burgers drive-through, walk-up-through, shall I say. It's more walk-up than anything, but their walk-up is still open as well, too. So I want to put that out to the public. And we will be communicating with all the other restaurants. We're starting this today. We will be making a post, and we ask any business out there that is affected by this, whether you're dine-in or your inside capacity, let us know what your regulations are, what you're doing, so we can let the public know who's doing what, who's still open, who's still serving, and how they're serving. So if you're a business, please contact us and let us know so we can get that out to the public.
You got it, and hook or if you can, hook me up with El Zarapi and Boyd's Burger, and we'll get them some ads on the radio going and that to let the people know.
Will.
Yes, because that's the kind of businesses we are going to help out on this show. Because man, they're the ones that I mean, I can't imagine the Carl's Jr. up here in Moreno Valley, where my dad has coffee every morning. They said by Saturday they might be shutting down because they're only doing like 10% of their normal business of that, and they can't even afford to pay the light bill to keep the place open at that rate.
Exactly. It's going to really, it's going to hurt our local, business economy out here real bad, and that's why we're trying to strive to keep the word going out to the public. Who's still serving, who's still, working, who's not, so the public knows where to go. Our other Facebook groups out here, HEMET Valley Incidents, they're doing the same thing. We're actually trying to network together with all these businesses. We're communicating every day with the fire department, the fire chief. They will be continuously sending us information to us to let us put out to the public, to keep aware on, what to do, what not to do. They are planning on setting up testing sites for the coronavirus. That is in the works right now. So we did have a that was on our page that somebody was saying that there was different testing sites in Riverside County, and one of them was listed as being here in HEMET. But before I even let that post go through, I did contact Chief Brown because I just got out of the meeting with him, and as of the meeting, we don't have no testing sites yet, but at the emergency room. And those testing, when they test you and all that, it has to be sent off to be, to actually get a positive reading if you have it or not. So right now, as we speak, we do not have any facilitated testing sites yet for people to go to. So, and we are encouraging people, please do not go to the hospitals if you feel like you have these symptoms. We did put out PSA from Rancho Family Medical. They contacted us. They had a meeting with Loma Linda, Marietta hospitals, all the hospitals in Riverside County, and they had like a little network meeting, and they actually put together a video and asked us if we would put it out to the public. They are asking, if you feel that you have these symptoms, to call the health department, contact 211. Right now, the main number that we're trying to stress to the public is 211. We are having a lot of 911 calls, people, I think I got the coronavirus, and, please, folks, we're trying to utilize 911 for main emergencies. And just to be tested for coronavirus is not a 911 issue. And if everybody's been asking, well, what number do we call? Call 211. The fire department said that they are utilizing that number as much as we can to the public. So questions and stuff, please contact 211.
Yeah, you're in most cases, not only here, across the world, but most people don't. And somebody wrote in, and I heard the stat, half of California is going to get this, which is probably true. And half of California is probably not even going to know or suffer, if any, very mild effects over this. This is how you kill off a virus. As I've said, the only thing that's known in our world that kills a virus is the human immune system. Nothing else kills it, and that's how you kill it. If you try to run all this stuff in, but from the information I've had, and we've had experts on the show say that is to let this thing run its course. Those who are at risk, and we've all run through the stuff, those are the ones that should really be paying attention to that. Of that, there is, in my view, no need to that, and that's part of the deal. If they crash the system, I mean, Gavin Newsom is asking for for the federal government to bring one of our big medical ships over and park it at the Long Beach because we're going to have all
Yeah,
this.
I seen that. I did. I seen that yesterday.
I mean, this is how insane we're getting over this thing. And again, that's part of my fear of this is if you really are in an emergency or something, say somebody drives into the side of you at 60 mile an hour, and you're sitting there in like extremely critical condition, and they're life flighting you in, and the hospital's packed full of people who got the sniffles.
Exactly.
Roy's gonna
That's always got
die
to stress
because
with people.
because of these people are panicking.
Right. And the hospitals even asked us to please put the word out to the public, that you coming in the hospital because you got the sniffles, you might have a little dry cough, flu symptoms, just don't come, just plain and simple, don't come in unless it's an emergency because their hospital emergency rooms are just being overwhelmed. And it's taken from, the time that they need to be treating, the real emergencies. So please, folks, we stress, don't go to the hospitals unless you really, really have to. And if you feel that you've got to stay at home, keep yourself dehydrated, you just fight it like a normal flu. And, you won't be spreading it. They're asking people, if you really don't have to get out, stay at home. Because the more people we have out, the more, social gatherings we have, it's going to create more, issues. So stay at home, let this thing die down, and we'll be all right. Just, it's like another flu.
Yeah, there's nothing in the deal that says that we're gonna there's no indication that this is something that is going to be catastrophic. Even over there in Italy and China, where it is based on the death rate of that versus how many cases of it, it's infinitesimal the amount of people that are actually dying or suffering severe consequences over this. Now, yeah, we're not
Right.
minimizing that part of it. If you're in the risk category, yeah, you should be paying attention. You should be taking extra precautions of this. The rest of it, I see no need. And we're going to be bringing it out. I talked about it a little bit at the top, but it's hiding in plain sight. Some of the reports and stuff I've seen coming out of what's going on, again, I try to stay off the conspiracy bandwagons, but it's
Right. We got a lot of that right now.
yeah, but it's not giving me the warm and fuzzies what's going on here.
Right. I feel you. That's why I say people, they just get into panic, and we have all kind of false information that's going out, and it's creating it worse than what it really is. So that's why I say, folks, don't believe everything you see on TV. Don't believe everything you see online. We are trying to work, close with all the agencies, that is actually pumping out the real information that you really need to know, what you really need to do. So, make sure you do follow our pages, on HEMETiNews.com. As soon as we get more information in from our city officials, we will be putting it out. Like I say, our main 3 news groups out here actually had a meeting with Chief Fire, our Fire Chief Scott Brown. They gave us, pretty well good details what we need to put out to the public. We're trying to watch our news group pages, not to let, all these posts come in about coronavirus and only just put out, emergency facts that need to be known, because all these new posts coming in, I mean, we get like 200-300 posts a day. And if we would have approved all these posts, this whole community would be in a 10 times more panic.
Yeah.
So it's crazy, Roy. I swear people just woke up and drank a bowl of stupid for breakfast.
You got that right. I couldn't have said that better myself. Thanks to you and Lori and all the gang at HEMET News for actually putting out the real information, the information that will keep you safe and not cause you a panic. Facts, not fear, in this whole thing should be what everybody's at. Got anything else? We got about 30 seconds left. Wrap her up, Eddie.
That's about it. You guys just keep your hands washed, stay inside, and keep your windows open, air out your homes, and don't go nowhere unless you really, really have to. Until then, follow us on HEMET, EYE News, like the HEMETiNews.com, and as well also HEMET News on YouTube. Roy, I appreciate everything you're doing. This is that crazy guy with the lazy eye bringing you the hillbilly news, redneck style, and I am getting off my chair and I'm off your hair.
We love the style of Eddie Georgia, him at iNews. He's great. And plus, he's actually giving you real information of what's going on out there. Should be starting about now. L.A. County, from what the reports are, they were supposed to have a press conference at 5:30, which is right now.
1 minute.
They were going to go with the shelter in place. In and around LA County, Mayor Garcetti, I think the mayors of Long Beach, Pasadena, and everything else. That's about 10 plus million people. I mean, 7 million up around San Francisco with that. 50% of the cases are in 10 counties. The only double-digit deaths are in New York, California, Washington, and Georgia. In those counties are in New York City, around the LA area, San Francisco, and
30
Seattle.
seconds.
You know where the biggest vagrant population is? New York City, LA, San Francisco, and Seattle. We've had typhus, rat infestation outbreaks in City Hall. We've had diseases going across these whole areas.
Okay, here we go. 10 seconds.
1490am.com and download your free phone app today. IE Newswire Daily is on the air.
The following is a paid program. Views and claims expressed are those of the program producer and are not endorsed by this station. Opinions expressed not necessarily those of
There we go. There's that funky slide guitar music coming on a, what we usually call Thursday, maybe Thankful Thursday. Thankfully, they ain't caved in on us yet. The sky is still up in the air, but the way the politicians and the government's treating us, it might not be there for very long. I don't know, and check the comments. I think Deborah had it. She wasn't hearing Eddie on that or the other end. I don't know if anybody else was of that. But check it out, or anybody else out there. Were you able to hear Eddie George out there on the deal? Put comments in there on that, because we have our longtime guest Susan Shelley's coming up here in a minute. But as I said on the video cast, and now we're on the Mighty Met 1490 KMET, broadcasting along with worldwide on the web on YouTube and Facebook on IE Newswire Daily on the Mighty Met 1490 KMET all across the Inland Empire. We have a new program going on this show, and Jesse will put it up here in a minute. We're offering free 20-second ads till April 30th to select businesses, mostly that are being the ones that are affected the most by this whole virus panic that's going on. Those of you, especially in the restaurant, bar industry, service industry, gyms, all those ones that are getting shut down over this is absolutely incredible. So we're going to do our best to try and keep it informed. If you're still open, or delivery of food, or will open back on that at the first of the year, or after this whole lifting of whatever's going on, which is expanding now. Like I said, I just got the deal on Facebook, so check on ABC7 on my message thing. I think they've got the press conference. We want to duck in on that, but I want to bring on to make that announcement. But I want to bring on our longtime guest. She's an editorial writer for the Press Enterprise, Sabardino Sun, Redlands Daily Facts, Inland Daily Bulletin, about 1,000 gazillion million newspapers all across Southern California. But in my mind, even more importantly, Vice President of Howard Jarvis Taxpayers Association, Susan Shelley. Welcome back to the show.
Well, thank you. Great to be here.
And I think it's going on, just started here. I don't know
Yeah.
if you heard about it, but LA County, cities around Pasadena, Long Beach are about to do the shelter in place thing, which is going to what, affect 10 plus million people in Southern California?
You know, I have an opinion about this. I don't know if I should say it. I should probably think about it first. But I have an opinion about this. That's all I'm going to say. This is so frustrating because you cannot prevent the spread of this virus. What we're trying to do here is slow the spread of the virus, which means that every day you've got another story about how it's getting worse, which only feeds the panic. This can't be done. They're handling this, the communications on this whole crisis have been the worst I've ever seen. No wonder the country is in a panic. No wonder people are in line, hysterical at the grocery stores, trying to stock up for the apocalypse. This has been handled so badly. And I'm not minimizing the seriousness of the illness, but for the vast majority of people, it will not be fatal. It will not be deadly. For the vast majority of people, they will recover. And so we should be focusing our efforts on protecting the people who are at risk and not trying to freeze the entire United States of America and the rest of the world in place, which can't be done. To prevent a virus from spreading, which can't be done. This is a recipe for hysteria. I'm so upset about this.
I can tell the frustration in your voice because it's the same frustration I have, and I couldn't have said it any better, and I couldn't agree with every point you just made. That was a perfect summation of what is going on, and it's very concerning to me. That's why I made the offer on this show. We're going to give free 20-second ads to businesses that have really been affected by this, like restaurants, gyms, and bars that have been closing or their operations severely curtailed, because I don't want to see the economy collapse.
Too late. Too late. We have collapsed.
I really hope you're wrong, but I suspect you are right.
Well, we can recover from this. But we have certainly dug ourselves into a hole with this hysteria from the government in this attempt to do what the experts told them was the only thing we could do, which is not the only thing we could do. And I reject the so-called expert opinion that all we can do is shelter in place and try not to spread this virus. I appreciate the fact that it helps if people are not gathering in places. I appreciate the fact that it's useful for people particularly at risk to be extra protected. But you can't just go on television and say no one can leave their home and not have grocery executives next to you saying, and here's how we're going to make sure you have what you need. It was so badly thought out. It was absolutely calculated. It couldn't have been calculated any better to cause panic. And panic itself is deadly. We're not going to have a total on how many people die of stress, heart attacks, fear, side effects of this whole pandemic panic. We're not going to have a total on that because there's no test for it. But I guarantee you there is going to be significant damage in the vulnerable population from scaring people to death over something that is generally treatable and that most people will recover from. And that we could have beefed up the healthcare system on a war footing. We could have made a big deal out of it. And we could have asked for manufacturers to help us with what we needed, and we could have waived the liability for delivering masks that haven't met the medical grade standard, which is what the legislation did last night. They waived the liability, so 3M could ship millions of masks that were going to go to construction sites to medical facilities. Well, if you can fix it with something like that, you don't need to panic people for 2 weeks ahead of time. This is so frustrating.
I don't know if you listened to the show last night, but Dr. Kelly Victory almost stamped everything you did. And she's a trauma surgeon, a disaster preparedness expert, and consultant to major companies like Walgreens. And she said the same thing. She said, one thing, and this was a startling factor or startling statistic that she brought up to us. She said once a virus is exposed to 5% plus of the population, the social distancing has virtually or no effect. We are at 50% right now, she estimates, in the United States. So she said there is no reason for this. She said exactly the same thing. A virus that is widely spread is usually not that not that deadly. You take a coronavirus, you take the cold, which is on the bottom end, or you take Ebola on the top end. She said coronavirus is somewhere in the middle toward the cold. She said most people will not be affected if they are affected, they'll have very mild to moderate symptoms. There's a very small percentage of the population, but a deadly virus like Ebola affects a very few people, but it is very dangerous. She said this is nowhere near that. There is no way we should be doing this panic. And she said the same thing. The damage this is going to do to our economy is going to have far further reaching effects than whatever lives or potentially things they're saving or they think they're saving right now.
We could be protecting the people who are at risk, and we could certainly have increased the capacity of the medical system. That's what that chart was all about, the one that had the big bump on it that looked like somebody hit Wile E. Coyote with a bottle. that bump came down. Nobody talks about the fact that that bump came down. So what we should have done, what we still should be doing, is beefing up the capacity of the medical system. That was the dashed line that went across, and we were trying to flatten the curve underneath. Instead of trying to flatten the curve underneath it, we could have lifted that dashed line to increase the capacity of the medical system. We could have moved heaven and earth and the military and anything else that we needed to build hospitals quickly, to get the equipment that we needed, to be ready for the serious illnesses that some people, not everyone, some people would suffer as a result of getting sick. But this, don't drive, don't leave your house, don't work, don't gather with people, closing the restaurants, closing the bars, closing the workplaces. This is insanity. This is insanity. And then going to Congress and Sacramento and saying, now we need $1 billion or $1 trillion to bail out the entire world because we stopped them from working for a living. This is insanity. This is the biggest failure of government, and I mean bipartisan and state and local. This is the biggest failure of government I have ever seen and could ever have imagined. I could never have imagined it. This is a failure. And I am just seething mad about it. And I'm going to put it in the column on Sunday. I think this really needs to be said. And at this point, what do I have to lose? You know, this is this is unacceptable. Unacceptable. And then turning people against each other with this business of if one person is out, it puts all of us at risk of dying. Nonsense. Nonsense. And now you've got people just fighting with each other in the aisles of supermarkets and saying vicious things on Twitter and Facebook about people who are out doing something that maybe they need to be doing. Or maybe someone with a cart full of stuff is buying things for an entire block of people. We have no idea who they're shopping for. And they're being savaged as hoarders. We don't know that they're hoarders. They could be agents of mercy trying to help their neighbors and their families. We have no idea. We have turned the public against itself. This is insanity. And let me tell you what I'm really worried about. As bad as this is, the next one. We are setting a precedent here that because there is danger, defined by the government, danger, and I'm not minimizing it, but they define it, they can do whatever they want. They can wipe out the Bill of Rights. They can say, you don't have the freedom to assemble. You don't have the freedom to do anything. We will tell you where you can obtain food, if you can obtain food, because we're closing everything.
I want to read a few comments. Ann says, "Go for it, Susan."
Okay.
Kevin says, "The beginning of socialism." Of that, but I couldn't agree with you more on this whole thing. I mean, and I'm going to bring it out maybe starting tomorrow because you're probably familiar with it, but it's called hiding in plain sight. They always telegraph what's going on. And listen to Susan Shelley. She's not just whistling Dixie on this deal. I'm going to start bringing out some articles probably starting tomorrow, if not next week. it seems like, and like I said, I try to stay off the conspiracy theory, Bohemian Grove, and all this other, Council on Foreign Relations stuff. But when I see, and I've said this, and I mean, there's probably, I'm probably in the top 10 of Donald Trump supporters, but when I hear Donald Trump and Gavin Newsom all start talking buddy buddy and we're working together and all this da 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 da, on this deal, it's just not giving me the warm and fuzzies.
It's very concerning. It's very concerning. Now, President Trump did not want to go down this path. He did try to keep people calm, but it was just fanned in the news every day. Deadly, deadly, deadly. Look what's happening in Italy. Well, do we know exactly what's comparable in Italy? Do we know what the healthcare system is like? Do we know how they treat people who show up with symptoms, or if they treat people who show up with symptoms? Do we know anything about Italy? No. But we have a chart and we have a model, and our computer says everybody dies, so we have to just keep people in their homes. This is irrational, and it's very concerning. It is very concerning. I don't know how you recuperate from losing a third of the value of the stock market, from the airlines having no income, from the hotel industry having no income, from everything shutting down, from hairdressers all the way to giant companies. I cannot believe the damage that these people are doing to us out of panic over something that could have been addressed in a more targeted way. This is malfeasance at every level.
I'm sure this little statistic will cheer you up. I heard today. In 2020, the automobile manufacturers were projecting 17 million cars sold in the United States. Today, they revised that figure to 13.
This is going to devastate businesses, and I'm not sure there's enough of a bailout that the government could even do. And by the way, where are they getting the money for that?
Yes.
Now that there's no tax revenue, now that there's no sales tax revenue, no income tax revenue, no corporate tax revenue, the financial contagion is going to wipe people out. This is insanity. Insanity. LA County ordered to stay at home. Rule goes into effect at midnight. You think that's going to cause any panic buying in the supermarkets at 11 o'clock?
Yes, is people weren't going nuts as it was.
And there's no end date. There's no end date. The president tried to put something out 15 days. Well, all right, if you're going to say it's 15 days, people can make plans. If you're going to do this as an open-ended, it's getting worse every minute kind of press conference with these self-important politicians who've had no sleep and have no judgment, I can't tell you how concerning this is for the people of this country. This is more dangerous than any virus. This response is more dangerous than the illness. This will kill more people.
I fear the prediction you're doing is going to come because you take the San Francisco area now. They're in the shelter in place, which is basically a lockdown, of that. And now in LA County, you basically got half of the 40 million population in California within a week locked down. When Gavin Newsom says, well, yeah, we're talking about martial law, but it's not going to be that. Well, when you do that, martial law means one thing. The Constitution is suspended.
Suspended. Over with. You have no rights in the United States.
Correctamundo.
And this is not a war where some country has attacked us and we have weapons to go out and win a war, and then the war will be over after we win it. This is an ongoing thing. We have a flu season every year. I heard Dr. Birx at the White House, who's our Tsarina of Corona, if you don't know which one she is. She's the woman who's been in these press conferences. Dr. Birx said in one of these press conferences a couple of days ago how wonderful it is that we're doing all this and how useful this will be for future flu seasons. Excuse me? Excuse me? How much of this are they planning to do for us every year?
Oh, we'll be running it out. You're hitting on it. It's hiding in plain sight. You're picking up because you're very astute at this stuff. You're picking up on the little nuances that are coming out of this deal of what's coming on. Yeah, this is, again, like I say, I try to stay off the conspiracy deals, but what has concerned me about this is how they have been able to change the behavior of people on a 180-degree dime as quickly as they have?
Well, you scare people to death, and they will believe what their rational minds cannot confirm. That's true all the time. And if you are in the kind of mindset where you're looking at a picture of someone on Twitter who's at the beach and you start screaming at them that they're going to kill us all, you are in the exact state of mind of people who were in Germany when they all said it was fine to go invade other countries and exterminate 6 million people. That's the mindset that you're in. When you look at that and say, these people are going to kill us all, you are in the mindset that allows any government abuse, even the unimaginable ones. And for people who look at history and say, I can't understand how people let that go, this is how. You scare them to death, and then you do whatever you want. And then it's too late, and there's no way back. And that's where we are. We have to stop this.
Yes,
we have to put an end date on this.
Exactly. That's what I mean, I'm going to go down swinging on this because in my view, there's no other way to do it. But yes, there has to. You either got to. This is what I equate this to. Maybe I'm overhyping it, but I mean, I equate this to George Washington sending on the Delaware when he only had like one or two. Most of the country wanted to give up and say we can't beat King George. We're starving to death. Yada yada yada. And he said, no, but hell no. We're going to cross this river and we're going to kick their ass. And he went on and did it. And that's what it's going to take. There was a group of, they say in San Francisco area, well, you can only go out to go get essential services or so. And I haven't got the video of it yet I just heard the report. But a bunch of probably right-minded citizens up there were at the gun store buying guns and ammo. And the cops said, no, these are not essential services for you, and made them or did that. The FBI is saying they can't even keep up this week with the amount of background checks of people buying weapons coming in.
Wow. Well, this is not necessary. This is not going to solve the coronavirus problem. It's going to get out in the population. Some people are going to be sick. Most people are going to be fine. We should be focusing on helping the people who are sick. We should be focusing on extra precautions for any kind of assisted living facility, any kind of nursing home, any kind of place where people have health vulnerabilities. We should be focusing enormous resources to help those facilities and to help those people. Without a doubt, we can protect them. That's what has to be done. But to shut down the United States of America, to try to stop an airborne virus, is insanity.
It is. 65% of the population, of those aged 65 and over, is 13% of the population. They are only 2% of the workforce. We could do exactly what Susan is talking about. Okay, the 2% over 65, yeah, maybe you shouldn't be coming into work. We'll do that. We can work around that very easily without even a bump or a blip in the system.
Exactly. And you can't just announce that people are locked in their homes by law. You have to say, and here's how we're going to provide you with what you need. And it has to be all in the same press conference. Or else you say that and people get hysterical, which is what we are seeing. We have 200 million, 300 million hysterical people in the United States simultaneously. This is not necessary, and it is not helpful, and it is not saving lives. This is catastrophe, what these people are doing right now. And as I said, if we don't put an end date on it, we will have lost our freedom. We will be in the exact same situation that we are still in at the airport. Have you noticed that you're still in the TSA line at the airport? You still have your shoes in your hand. You still can't have shampoo. For all that we've done to wipe out Al-Qaeda, to wipe out ISIS, for all that we've done to secure the process of identification at the airport and who's buying the tickets and who are you and are you allowed to be, for all that we've done, we're still in line being frisked by these TSA agents. It never goes away. You let this out, it never goes away. And that was exactly the same thing. That was the fear, the threat, the possibility of terrorism. I'm not saying it wasn't real, just that when you allow the government to do this preemptive, cautionary restriction of freedom, it never goes away. And if we want to live in a free country in the United States of America, we have to say something about this.
Yep, the biggest enemy against your freedoms is incrementalism, is what Susan Shelley's talking about. If they try to take your rights all away in one day, you're not going to do it. But they've been systematically chipping away, and, oh, well, it's for this, or it's for the children, or this and that, or protect you from these boogeyman overseas, or whatever, and you keep accepting it. You keep accepting it. You keep accepting it. Pretty soon, and we're going to play the clip. I encourage people to go out there and look at the Twilight Zone, and we're going to play some clip from one episode on that with Burgess Meredith. And if you don't think this ain't playing out in 2020, I'd like to know the reason why. Susan Shelley, you got about a minute to tell them why they should join Howard Jarvis Taxpayers Association while they still have a couple bucks in their pocket and freedom to do so.
Because the Howard Jarvis Taxpayers Association fights for your freedom, for your money, to not let the government take what you have. And this is really important. This is really important. So you should support this organization. It's only $15 a year to be a member, 15, to be a member of Howard Jarvis. Go to hjta.org, hjta.org, and join the Howard Jarvis Taxpayers Association and strengthen the voice of freedom-loving taxpayers in the United States.
Susan Shelley, I appreciate the passion, and we'll do it again next week.
Thank you, Roy. Take care.
Man, I mean, you think, okay, I get it. You think guys like hillbillies like me and Eddie George are just off our rocker. You know, we're bunch of ditch bank okies, don't know what we're talking about. We've had Dr. Kelly Victory on yesterday. We've had Susan Shelley on today. Highly educated, very knowledgeable on all stuff, and they're saying basically the same thing. They're saying, watch out. They're sending rockets up into the air with the messages. This is not right. You know, I share the frustration of both of them. I mean, like I say, I'm going to do everything I can to thwart this off. Like I say, we're going to try and help out those, the small businesses that need that, the seniors that need supplies, those that are getting hurt by this, and then again, how are we going to help? Like Susan said, they crash this economy on that. And people are losing their jobs en masse, their homes, their cars, everything else. This might make 2008, 2009 financial crisis look like a cakewalk. Time will tell. But like I say, I just do not get the warm and fuzzies all the way around about this whole thing. It's getting that. We'll be back on Fast Friday tomorrow with Stephanie. We'll bring you all the latest news of what's going on, and hopefully we'll have something better to say. See ya.